Hey guys, it's Chris. From massive trucks to massive boats, massive planes, and more. Join me as I show you some big vehicles and other contraptions of the world. Number 9. Big Bertha. At one point in time, the idea of making a tunnel meant a lot of hard work and extreme danger. Imagine trying to carve out a tunnel by hand. That would take forever. Then massive machines were made to help make the job easier via drilling. It started out with small drills, but then they got bigger and bigger until nearly the point of absurdity. The biggest machine tunnel drill out there is a behemoth known simply as Big Bertha, and it's one that lives up to its name. This massive drill is 300 feet in length and was made for the Washington State Department of Transportation's Alaskan Way Viaduct Replacement Tunnel project in Seattle in 2013. The diameter of the machine's drill section is 57.5 feet in length, allowing it to make a truly perfect circle when drilling into the hard rock and stone of its intended target. It's also 7,000 tons in weight, which means it can't be moved by conventional means. It actually has to be moved by ship from place to place. In terms of height, the drill is 5 stories high. In regard to the machine's functionality, this is where things get tricky, as there were issues while the drilling of the Alaskan Way Viaduct was underway, so much so that there was a 2-year delay due to fixes and other impediments needing to be taken care of, making many wonder if this kind of drill should even be made, as its issues hindered the project where other small machines could have done the work in the same amount of time. Still though, making a drilling machine of this scale to even partial functionality is rather impressive. Imagine having a fleet of these drills that you had to move across a country or even an ocean. Number 8. SR.N4. The notion of a hovercraft is not new, but some people are surprised when they learn that there have been much larger versions of a hovercraft made over time, including the SR.N4, which was not a newer vehicle, but was in fact developed back in the 1950s, and then served as a ferry for both people and vehicles from 1968 to 2000. The SR.N4 was the largest hovercraft then built, designed to carry 254 passengers in 2 cabins, besides a 4-lane automobile bay which held up to 30 cars. Like with most hovercraft, the SR.N4 was designed to work both on land and on water via its inflatable undercarriage that would let it glide upon the water and on land without much resistance. The only caveat for this particular large vehicle was that while it was good at its job, as proven by its lengthy service record, it wasn't a vehicle that was green, in that it burned a lot of fuel as it moved across the English Channel. Despite this, it ran for decades, and then inspired the next wave of larger hovercrafts, including ones that could double the passenger capacity, though eventually the entire fleet of these hovercrafts were shut down, and one is currently on static display at the Hovercraft Museum at Lyon-Solent. And now for number 7. But first, be sure to subscribe to World List if you haven't already, and let me know if maybe you've worked with any of these machines in the comments down below. Number 7. Prelude. The Prelude FLNG is defined as the world's largest floating liquefied natural gas platform, as well as the largest offshore facility that has ever been made by man. In terms of dimensions, the Prelude is 1,601 feet long, 243 feet wide, and at full capacity can weigh up to 600,000 tons. The Prelude was built in South Korea. However, it was a joint construction venture between different companies, Royal Dutch Shell, Kogas, and Impex, though it is owned by Shell. It was finished in 2013. Despite it being a ship, the Prelude is usually moored in one spot, while it begins its operations in various areas of drilling. When that happens, it uses driven steel piles to keep it in place so it doesn't drift via the ocean's tides and currents. After being launched in 2013, it was built and added upon until it could begin drilling functions in 2016. It's so big and so efficient that it's stated to be able to get 5.3 million tons of liquid and condensate per year. This includes 3.6 million tons of liquefied natural gas, 1.3 million tons of condensate, and 400,000 tons of liquefied petroleum gas out of the ground every year. It started its drilling operations 200 miles off the coast of Australia. Not only was the Prelude built to do hard labor, it was also designed to withstand a Category 5 storm, though there is room for a helicopter to land should it be required. This vessel is built to do the work, withstand the elements, and never stop. Not many this size can say that. Number 6. AUTO-TRAM Extra Grand. Picture right now a bus, one that you have ridden recently. Think not just about the look of the bus, but maybe the length of it as well. By its natural design, a bus is long and intended to go and seat many people. And sometimes you see variations of this, like a double-decker bus or one that's twice as long. But when you're looking for the largest bus out there, you need to look for the AUTO-TRAM Extra Grand. This is a bi-articulated passenger bus that has 3 sections and is able to hold 256 passengers among its 100-foot-long frame, which is quite a lot of people when you really think about it. But just as impressive is the design of it. Many like to refer to this bus more like a train because of how it's constructed and its length. But like a precision vehicle, the AUTO-TRAM Extra Grand is able to make precision turns and thus be able to get in and out of situations without needing wide turn radiuses. In fact, the back 2 carts are linked in such a way that they perfectly follow the leader. These buses were designed to go and help crowded cities and avoid congestion and large crowds that need a ride. Number 5. The Mi-26. The Russians had a desire to make a helicopter that would not only dwarf all others, but be able to do all sorts of tasks. Thus, they made the Mi-26, which is the largest and heaviest helicopter to ever go into series production, which means it's available now and isn't just a prototype that could happen to be better. What separates the Mi-26 from many helicopters isn't just its power, it's that it's used by both the military and civilian forces of Russia in order to get various things done. It can lift massive passenger planes off of runways, it can help move farming equipment, it can hold up to 20 tons of cargo or hold 82 people inside to transport them to a battle. It holds a world record for things it has lifted, and despite its impressive 3-story height, it can reach 187 miles per hour. Meaning that it's not just a workhorse, it's one that can get to a spot quickly in order to get work done. The Russians were so impressed by what they made that they intentionally made many variants of the Mi-26 to help them in other situations. Number 4. FABIO REGGIANI bike. If you were to think about the largest motorcycle in the world today, you would likely picture one that was built for a relatively tall or stocky person. Or you'd go and picture something like this, but in fact, neither of those are the biggest bike in the world right now. That would be the FABIO REGGIANI bike. The gargantuan cycle, aka Big Bike, was unveiled at the Motorbike Expo in 2012 in Verona, Italy, to the amazement and delight of those in attendance. Big Bike measures 16 feet 8 inches high and weighs over 5.5 tons, and features a 5,000cc V8 Chevy motor boasting 280 horsepower. If you're curious, yes, the bike is indeed fully functional, which sets it apart from other show bikes that were built to be impressive and yet don't really run. The running of the bike was actually a part of his recognition by the Guinness Book of World Records, as he had to drive it over 300 feet to prove that it could truly run. It also should be noted that he made this big bike by hand. And should you be wondering how he drives this incredible bike, he has a smaller set of controls near where he sits. Number 3. The GHAN. When you think about trains, especially passenger trains, you likely think of ones that are large enough to carry people from town to town or even city to city. But in Australia, there's a train known as the GHAN that is not only one of the longest trains in the world today, but hosts one of the longest adventures you can have on a train. In fact, the subtitle for the GHAN is Journey Beyond. This is because the GHAN takes you from northern Australia to southern Australia across 1,800 plus miles. It takes 54 hours to do the trip. What's more, the train's length on average is over 2,500 feet, with it having between 16 and 38 stainless steel carriages to support both its passengers, as well as having luxury carts for dining and other amenities while you're riding along the tracks. The GHAN is so revered that many television documentaries have been made about it, even showing bits and pieces of the journey in a few hours, so that people can understand why people want to go on such a long journey. Number 2. The longest limo. When you think about the lengths of certain cars and vehicles, they usually correlate to either the brand making them or the intent of the vehicle itself, like a truck having a long bed in order to carry various things. However, for J. Orberg, when he made his limo called the American Dream that was built to be 100 feet long, the only goal he had, aside from trying to look cool, was to make a Guinness World Record, and he succeeded in that attempt. The record itself was set all the way back in 1986, which means the record has stood for over 30 years. To be clear, it's a fully functioning limo, but it's so long that it needed certain other things to make it work overall, such as needing more than 4 tires. In fact, it needs 26 to keep going, and they're positioned not just at the front and the back of the limo, but in the middle as well. Also, you can be inside the limo as it drives around, and it's so spacious that you'll find a swimming pool, a waterbed, and even a helipad. Number 1. Airbus A380. The world of aircrafts has seen many advances and innovations over the years, but for most, they agree that having lots of room to carry lots of passengers and thus make more money is a must, and that's where the Airbus A380 comes in. It is indeed the largest passenger airline in the world today. Its initial conception was one that was designed to be in direct competition with the Boeing 747, one of the most well-known planes today. Despite many production delays, it was eventually the airwaves in 2007 and is still in use to this day. The full-length double-deck aircraft has a typical seating capacity of 525, though it's certified for up to 853 passengers, which is much more than many planes on the market today. The irony, though, of this massive aircraft isn't that it fits so many. It's that because of all the problems of its development, the orders for it have dwindled. As such, it'll stop production in 2021, but the ones that are still out there will continue to roam the skies, and variations of the Airbus A380 have been made since 2007. Thanks for watching. What did you think of these big vehicles and contraptions? Which of these big items did you like the most? Let me know in the comments below. Be sure to subscribe to World List, and I'll see you next time on the channel.